Hello and thank you very much for joining us. I'm Philip Duncan. Well, the weather forecast in New Zealand is still looking pretty settled, but we've got this low pressure system out in the western Tasman Sea. It's hugging sort of the Queensland, New South Wales border, and it's heading towards New Zealand, but it's going to fall apart as it does so. The west coast is going to be the area that gets the most rain, but for now, high pressure dominates the entire country, and there's a fair bit of high pressure across Australia. Other than that, low out in the Tasman and more low pressure down in the Southern Ocean. Now, temperatures are about to lift up in New Zealand. Take a look at tonight's overnight temperatures. You're seeing there a lot of green and the yellow colouring, so that's 0 to 5 and 5 to 10 degrees, basically across a big chunk. In fact, a little portion there below zero. But when you compare that to the early hours of Sunday morning, some big differences. For example, around Canterbury, you're in that sort of 15 to 20 degree mark, as is part of the upper North Island. So warmer weather is coming, and it's all thanks to this big high slowly moving to the east and these subtropical winds coming in over the next few days. So that low drifts a little bit further down the Australian coastline. It gets to Sydney, brings in a little bit of wet weather for you, and we've got that sort of system down here in the Southern Ocean, mainly well south of Australia, but it's just driving in a few showers for southern areas. But New Zealand is very dry. There could be a couple of showers caught up in that nor'easter. As that nor'easter starts to develop on Friday, a bit of cloud will come in. It's been a very sunny week for many in the north. Now you'll start to get a few cloudy periods. As we go properly into the weekend, Saturday sees showers around northern areas, one or two of them, nothing major. Later on Saturday, though, the rain builds up on the west coast, coming out of the subtropics. The leftovers of that low that was near Sydney fallen apart, and you just get the rain starting to move through later on Saturday. By Sunday, heavy falls on the west coast, strong nor'westers in some areas, subtropical, so that's why Sunday, remember, is quite a mild day, or at least a mild morning, because you've got these warm winds coming down out of the subtropics, plus it's a windy nor'wester, and on top of that we've got cloud cover. So it should be pretty mild on Sunday, fairly dry in the North Island, a couple of showers coming in, bit of patchy rain even possible from Taranaki southwards. But once again, as you can tell, most of the eastern side of the country is looking fairly dry. Now to next week, Monday sees a few showers moving into the North Island. Just keep in mind, the centre of that big high right next door to you. So on Monday, it's still mild with northerlies over the New Zealand area, a couple of showers in there, but it's still leaning drier than average. At the same time, a wintry southerly coming on the way for Tasmania and Melbourne as that southerly kicks in across Monday afternoon for you. Now we go to Tuesday, so there is that big cold windy southerly getting all the way up to Sydney, going around our next developing low. Now this low has the chance of reaching New Zealand later next week. So this is Tuesday, showing once again nor'westers, plenty of wet weather on the west coast, but the North Island and those eastern areas that need rain the most are still looking very, very dry in those areas. And our final map for Wednesday of next week shows that low starting to drift from Australia to New Zealand. There's one big pattern difference at the moment. We're getting breaks between the highs. So that's a very powerful high, and that's quite a strong one. But in between, low pressure. And it's the same on the other side there. So we're getting a break between each high now, which does give us a chance for some wet weather. So later next week, perhaps around Friday next week, hopefully we'll get the leftovers of this moving in, but as you can tell, it's coming in from the wrong direction to help those who need the rain the most, which is eastern parts of both islands. That is all from me. Back again tomorrow with our next update.